What's up, guys? Victor here. Today I wanted to look over the classical variation. Specifically, I wanted to look at this variation. So now both pawns have been pushed up. Based on this variation, I'm starting to wonder if pawn up for green is really the best move. Because I think it's really the blue pawn you have to be concerned about for the most part. At any rate, this is common, so I decided I'd look at it. First step, blocking off the check that allows for some shenanigans if blue moves the queen up here next move. So we won't look at that right now. We'll look at that in a minute. First, I wanted to look at knight up. If knight up, then bishop up, this prepares that as well as that. Just a very good move. Also allows a check on blue, which could be pretty devastating. So just a very strongly placed bishop right here. So the plan for green often in this variation, and in general, is with the knight up, you can block the queen to prevent shenanigans, including that one. The knight is just very strong for green in defense of highly aggressive play. So I was looking at this move next. And yeah, the knight is very well placed here. Pawn up would more or less block the queen out. Obviously, you can't go there. So I think you have to move the pawn up here. And that reveals the weakness of the dark squares. So yeah, it does block off this idea. It also, however, reveals a weakness that will always have to be looked after by blue. This checkmate in specific. So here the dark squared bishop has a target he can potentially go after. I believe the next move here is to repair that, just sum up the threats. And if pawn up to block that off, I'm not sure pawn up is the best move here either. For the next idea we're going to look at, I think you can just snipe the knight here. Just snip it off. And the reason why is that now we have this idea. You move the queen, not the bishop, for a couple of reasons. And if you take back and you have queen over here, and the queen over here is really powerful for various reasons. If the queen happens to leave, the knight is there to defend. It does put some pressure. Additional pressure can be placed here. Also, we're looking at, the main thing is we're looking at these ideas though. Oops. And so knight up, I think, might be a good move here. Pawn up to prevent the queen from going down here, setting up that, which would force blue to sacrifice a piece for a check. So here, I think just simply knight up to block the check. Knight moves back. I'm not sure, again, if the knight's the best move. Bishop up to block the check. And now we're really looking at this idea. So if you move the pawn up, so I think this is the best move. Actually, I really don't know. take the pawn, and now we're looking at that. I think simply here, just bishop takes. Bishop takes to me seems to be strongest move. This just looks really good for red-yellow. Move that pawn up. Well, that's just good game. It's you have both of these ideas. Either you pin the pawn after the red queen takes, or if it's open, you can also snip off the pawn with the bishop. And yeah, so by taking the knight, you remove the check. You also make green a target. So by maintaining adequate pressure on blue, which first happened with the pawn push here, you really can single out green and attack green in this variation. So a few things we looked at, I wasn't sure if they were the best. First, we're going to look at what happens if blue doesn't move the knight up. Say blue decides to move the queen up. Here you can still push the bishop. And I guess you want to have some kind of check available. So you have that. The idea here now is to move queen there. And if you go for the same idea, pawn push, now you have the mate. So, yeah, that's why I think queen up here is a mistake. Because you go there, I mean, I guess you could go there. That might be an idea. This allows the idea of, let's see, I'm wondering, because clearly he would do that next move. So, actually, hold on, never mind. We have this. Checkmate. Okay, cool. So yeah, queen up early is a bad idea here. Knight up? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, queen up there is also bad. Because then you have that. Yeah. Then I guess you could queen up there to block that idea. But yeah, this, I think, because of how strong this variation is, I'm really starting to wonder if the pawn up there is the best idea. And also, in light of just how strong these bishops are, is it even a good idea to push the pawn up too? I know in an earlier analysis, I found that red and yellow, when you push the pawn up too, because it creates that weakness on the dark square, it becomes really easy to make blue a target. And you just, the idea is you push the pawn to remove the knight, put a pin on there, and then you maintain the assault on the dark squares. So it's just an idea that I came up with while looking at this variation. And I don't know if it's the best idea. So that's my further analysis on the classical variation, the main line. And in another video shortly, I will revisit the transposition to the double con. I don't know what this opening is called, but it's where instead of moving the queen up here, move the pawn up there, and then after that, well, I think the best move is to move the queen up there, moving that pawn up there. So Hope you liked the video, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.